Friday. That ought to be interesting. Great friend of the show and a hell of a football coach. Jeff Traylor, UTSA football coach, joins us, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Do you have like a kiosk off to the side from when you do your UTSA stuff that you sign books, autographs, Dave Campbell's magazines, all that too?
Is there any point in our relationship where the sarcasm or the satire might ever drop off, David, or is it just going to stay full raging your entire career?
Well, that's how we became friends, Jeff. That's kind of how we became friends when you blocked me in your field house. Okay, so what's your biggest strength right now on your football team?
Probably our offensive side of the ball. Whenever you have a quarterback returning, it's a 3-year starter for you. 4 offensive linemen, they're going on their 3rd year, 3 receivers, a tight end. That's huge. We've got a nucleus of our defense, David, but we lost some really great players, so we're going to have to do some coaching actually on that side of the ball. We lost a lot of great players, and so I'd say our offensive side of the ball, I'm really excited about having all those kids back.
You're coming off a fantastic season. Do you see when you have a season like you do, the work ethic change, things step up another level, that you can tell a team that doesn't want to take a step back?
Those kids have just been that way for me since day one. Even before the winning, they put in the work. I've been blessed with some great leaders like Frank Harris and Rashad Wisdom that have bought into us since day one, and I've never sensed any sense of that. We're a new program. We were picked dead last when we got that job. We had nobody on the all-conference team preseason. We haven't forgotten that. That's the fastest way a culture will decline is when you forget where you came from. And when you started your career at Big Sandy, Texas, you were raised in Gilmore your whole life, you don't forget where you came from. And I'm not going to let my kids forget how bad we were picked and how lack of respect we started when we got here. And we're sure not going to get big-headed and full of ourselves now.
So for that culture and all that's going around, the belief in San Antonio around the program, what did that mean for everybody involved to see you on the cover of Dave Campbell's?
Well, I'd be lying if I tried to give some of that false humility coach talk right now. But when you are in East Texas, I remember as a junior in high school trying to find my name in there, and it wasn't even in the magazine. I was just crushed because I was terrible. It didn't deserve to be in there. But my senior year, was actually in the magazine. I thought I'd really arrived. So to be on the cover, the most important part about that, if you look in the background behind Joey and I's ugly head, it says representing 1,400 Texas high schools. And that's the pressure I feel every day. I know the better that we do, the better chance it gives the Sean Bells of the world, the Texas high school football coaches that deserve their next chance to be head coaches.
What was it, Jeff, about San Antonio, which is a major city, a large city? What was it about San Antonio that you thought you could help create a college football fan base that loves the program so much?
It's just the 7th largest city in the country, and I didn't see a lot of pro sports there. They had the Spurs, and that's it. Now, once I got there, I really fell in love with the fans. They're very loyal. They're family-based. We have way more women in our crowd than most people. I think we did a study on that. We're like 52% male, 48% female at our games. Probably a lot of that has to do with we're in the Alamo Dome, which is 72 degrees. Their hair never gets messed up. Their makeup doesn't run. But it's very family-driven, and they're loyal. They really do love the Roadrunners. They're grateful for what we've done there. And anywhere we go in the city, someone's flashing birds up or they've got on something that represents the Roadrunners. And really excited that we've given those guys a 10-year commitment and very excited that they gave us one back.
It's 72 degrees in the stadium, and we've been in those press boxes before, and it's even colder, which is great.
When we've been at Cowboys camp.
In the dead of summer. Jeff, the city of San Antonio, though, I don't know if there's many places that are as large as it is that don't feel like it, too. So it makes it like a big college town at points, doesn't it?
I couldn't agree more. And, I'm from East Texas, and, Dallas still intimidates me. Houston still intimidates me. But when I'm in San Antonio, it just still feels, very big city, small town feel. And that's just the best way I can describe it. And that's the way everybody in the city recognizes it well. You know, we just got a bunch of different pockets that are just like small little towns that we go in and out of. But at the end of the day, it all, you know, combines to be an unbelievable city full of a bunch of multicultural, multi-ethnicity, just a lot of cool stuff, a great vibe that recruits really enjoy coming to visit there as well.
Jeff, you won championships in high school, and now you've done what you've done at UT San Antonio, and you were a part of things in between as well. But as a head coach, what was your most impressive or exciting win? Was it the first one in high school? Because you never know, it starts to become your win-loss record. What was the one that you will always say perhaps is the one that mattered the most?
That's always a tough question, right? If I could give you two, I would appreciate that. He cut me a little slack.
Okay.
You know, our very first game, Gladewater was ranked number 4 in the state, and we were not any good. And I worked on them. I got hired May the 1st. I worked on Gladewater for every straight day in May. We worked all summer long on Gladewater. And when we upset them at home, I knew I had a lifetime contract. Because when you beat Gladewater, we hadn't beaten them. We hadn't beaten Dansville. We hadn't beaten Gladewater. And that was a huge win for me. That was our first win ever. And then that first state championship win against Jasper in 2004,
yep.
49-47. That one at Stephen F. Austin State was big, David.
When did you stop worrying about what people said about you?
Tomorrow, you know, you don't want people saying bad stuff about you because you try to do it right, and it bothers you when people come after you. And does your skin become thicker as you do this longer? For sure. But I'd be lying if I told you that when people say derogatory things about me, my coaches, or my players, it doesn't bother us. Do I let it carry with me, David, as long as I used to? No, I don't let it keep me up at night anymore. I don't let it bother me the next day. But I still take criticism very seriously, and I evaluate criticism. And if I don't believe in the criticism, I dismiss it and move on. But if it's accurate, I try to fix it, right? And if you just ignore the David Smoaks of the world, you never listen to anybody, how are you going to ever get any better? You're not ever going to get any better.
Wow.
I would like to hear the story one day about how you kicked him out of the field house.
No, he blocked my website out of the school district.
Well, I mean, that's not a terrible idea. It's a big time waster. So I get that. He's just trying to be efficient, Smokey. Now, Coach, you've got a very Texas-heavy schedule, especially in your non-conference this year. As someone who's grown up in this state, this is kind of like if you want to coach against teams in Texas, this is kind of the dream schedule for you, isn't it?
Or the nightmare, however way you want to look at that. It just depends. I mean, Dana's going to have one of the best teams he's ever had. We've got those guys in 38 days. Then you squeeze in Army with Jeff Monken, which there's nothing worse than having to defend that offense. And then you go to the University of Texas where Coach Sarkisian done such a great job of recruiting there, and they got that thing going in the right direction. So, yeah, either way that goes, those first 3 games, it's very dangerous. If we go, shock the world and get off to another great start, that's dangerous. And if we do what all the experts are predicting, we lose them all, that's very dangerous as well. So it'll be interesting to see how our 2-1-0 triangulates up his culture, how we persevere through those 3 weeks.
Coach, we had Hunter Taylor in here a couple of weeks ago talking about his book, and you're obviously a big part of that. What was it like to kind of see that project as it moved along and see some of the feedback to a story you were a big part of, obviously?
Well, it makes you do some things you don't normally do as a coach, which is just stop and kind of reflect. And as I was driving in from San Antonio into Gilmer for that book signing, it was just kind of like, I had to go through Jacksonville, I had to go through Big Sandy, right? And then I go to Gilmer and had to go through, University of Texas, Austin, and there's so many memories that just came up along that road. And then when I got there, I didn't think anybody was going to be there but my mom. But there was probably 1,000 people from Gilmer there. We signed books for 3.5 hours. So many people just shared so many amazing stories. I thought I knew everybody in Gilmer, but there were people that I didn't know. They were just fans from Longview, Kilgore, that had followed us through the years, that got involved in our Adopt a Buckeye program, that just how they had helped kids for years. And then, I'll be honest, David, I hadn't read the book. Well, that night I went home, and at 10, I was going to read one chapter, and 4 hours later I'd read the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I went to Jacksonville, did a book signing, and then drove back into San Antonio that night. And again, it just made me reflect because I'd read the book now. And so many memories in that book, so many special people that I might not have just taken the time to think about lately. And it was just a big trip down memory lane. And I will say it's something I'm very proud of because so many of my former coaches are in that book and some of my former players. You get to hear about Dennis Parker, David Smoak, how important he was and all that. And I know I like to give David heck, and he likes to give it back to me as well. But I was young and immature and didn't really understand the big picture at the time. You got to remember I was 30,
Mm-hmm.
and that's an awful young age to be a head coach, especially a hometown, grown country bumpkin back in old Gilmer, Texas. That was a dangerous. If you don't believe in the Lord, that'll make you believe in the Lord. That we pulled that off.
You did an incredible job. You earned the book, and it was a great job by Hunter as well, and also the cover with Joey on Texas Football Magazine, Dave Campbell's. So I have a question for you, and I want to use it as an analogy or at least a relationship with high school football. Teams always, they want to win a state championship, but let's say a team that's not been successful, they get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden it's an extra week and maybe two. And then there's some that are used to going 4, 5, 6 weeks into the year, like you were. I'm talking postseason, and many other schools. Not a lot, but a few. Do you kind of have to teach that with your college program as well, that it's a sustainable start to finish? It's not that you can't take a breath, but you have to learn how to finish the year?
Couldn't agree more. I've said it. It's where I've been blessed. I've got to do it before. Let's look at that rise at Gilmer from 0 to 4. It was the perfect setting, right? Then you had the crashing upset to Canton. Then you had the crashing upset to Liberty Ilo. And that we weren't made to last. We were a kind of a flash in the pan. We were not a Brownwood. We were not a Odessa Permian back in the day, right? We were not built to last. We were not Katy yet. But from 7 to now, those guys have played past Thanksgiving every single year into Christmas, most of those years. That's when you know you're built to last. So now let's look over here to UTSA. We had that unbelievable season, and then the bowl game. We had kids ineligible. We had kids that chose to go to the National Football League. We had COVID. We just did not finish correctly. So there's a reason UTSA has never won a bowl game in the history of their program. We got to know how to finish. So getting there is fun, David, and it's a blast. Staying there and being built to last is a whole nother level that I do feel like that I'm prepared to lead us into that next phase. But it doesn't matter what old Coach Traylor wants. Frank Harris and Rashad Wisdom got to get that done for me, and I'm betting those Rascals will.
You are in that contract, and Jeff, again, is at Conference USA Media Days, and you've said that Dr. Campos and others are the ones that have to worry about all the extracurricular stuff. How much does the landscape of college football changing, including conference realignment, how much does that filter in, or how impossible is it to not filter into the locker room or even with your everyday?
Well, you got to be careful to protect your kids. But those kids are not stupid because they've got social media access at all times now. You just can't let the pressure get so much they forget why they're doing it. And if you'll just keep the main thing, let's just keep trusting in our culture pillars. Let's keep believing in what we do every day. The winning will take care of itself. It's just, I know it's corny, it's old-fashioned. Trust the process. Just win the day. And then go be the very best you can be. We'll recruit our tails off. We'll keep great players coming through here. We'll win enough. We're the 7th largest city in the country. We go win ball games. We keep building facilities. They're not going to leave us out. There's too many eyes in San Antonio that watch TV. Somebody's going to want us to be a part of their league as long as we keep putting a good product on the football field.
We saw, Lisa, by the way, Campos at that meeting that Baylor had an event here on campus. Are we allowed to bring up your interview process with her and also others? Well, what was it that she helped you with?
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say this, but the president asked me about what my relationship was like as a provost. All of our at my SMU, at Arkansas, at Texas, and I mean, you know how I look, David. I don't know what the heck's going on, which is most of the time. And my eyes got real big. I'm like, wondering what the heck a provost is. I had an idea what I thought it was, but I wasn't really for sure. And then she threw me up. That's when I knew I was her girl. I knew I was she was going to take care of me, because she was like, you know, Jeff, you've done academics with Charlie, you've done academics with Chad. That's been your role with that academics, right? Which threw me my confidence to go speak on what a provost was. So I knew then I had her. I didn't know if I had the president, but I knew I had Dr. Compost at that moment.
Isn't that amazing how things work? Hey, we're proud of you, man.
I would have been like, I love provosting. Yeah. Provost, that's just, you tell me where to provost, and I will pro that vost.
We're going to Utah. What are we talking about here?
I was going to say, you're going to go play Brigham Young and provost. Exactly. Hey, incredibly proud of you. You earned the book. You've earned the cover. You've earned the success and also continued luck. I know that schedule is full throttle. You wouldn't take it on. I was not surprised you don't have it because of what you've always wanted to take on the challenges. We appreciate your time. I would like to ask you one more thing, if it's okay. You have you were a part of other head coaching searches in college, but UTSA is the one that gave you the opportunity. What did you learn about the other ones, and how much did that fuel you if you didn't get it?
You know, it's a great question. I've been overlooked many times in my career. I think of all the schools I interviewed for before Gilmer gave me my chance. I'll always be forever grateful for Dr. Larry Bennett for giving me my chance. In the next book, when we all decide to retire and go home, I'll list all the universities and all the high schools that never gave me my chance. But it makes me very loyal to Gilmer. And we rewarded him with 15 years where we worked our asses off of those people. And UTSA gave me my chance, and they rewarded me with a 10-year contract. And I hope one day we're writing another book, and we put 15 more years of us working our tails off in the city of San Antonio, David.
Thank you, Jeff. Good luck. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time. Jeff Traylor.
Thanks. God bless.
A true friend, incredible friend. And watched him rise up the coaching ranks, and then, of course, had the amazing dominance at Gilmer. And then after a few jobs in college, he did have opportunities but didn't work out. He gets the job at UTSA, and they did incredibly well last year. When we come back, well, Startup Waco.